that last play offensively? Was it the plan to kind of hold for that last shot, try to tie the game, and see what happens on the floor?
Well, we had a couple different options and different actions, and they made a good defensive play and got the block on Kiyomi's shot.
Hey, Coach Antonio from BME Podcast. Was tonight's loss a tough one, that is? Was it a situation where you felt it was more self-inflicted, or was it more so what the other team did tonight?
Well, I think when you look at these games, there are always a combination of factors that come into play. I thought we made some good runs throughout the game. Our late game execution has to get a lot better. We had some tough calls down the stretch as well that, factor into it. So when you put all those things into the mix, it's just not one issue or one thing. But I thought we were competitive. We played against, a really good Illinois team. And we gave ourselves a chance to win the game. We just didn't make the plays down the stretch that we needed to make.
Coach, anyone who's watched Destiny Adams knows she plays with a lot of passion, and tonight it spewed out a lot. How imperative is it, that she kind of plays with a cool, calm head? I mean, she gets the first two, you bench her for the first half, she comes out, dominates the entire second half of the game, With that being said, her impact is just insane on the game. How imperative and how important is that for you guys moving forward, that she stays, out of foul trouble and stuff?
Well, I think I wouldn't ask Destiny to play with any less passion or emotion or effort or her motor ever, because that's what makes her the player that she is. Sometimes you get tough calls, sometimes you get tough breaks in terms of the way the game is being called, and just as easily some of those fouls that she got, her counterparts could have been called for fouls on the other end. So sometimes it just depends on the night and how they decide how closely or how tightly the game is going to be called. So we have to live with that's part of the game. She gets in foul trouble, we have to have other people step up, and I thought that we definitely weathered the storm of her basically not playing the first half of the game. It's a 2-point game at halftime. We come back out in the second half and we're able to go to her. We get a lead, and we're playing pretty good basketball, and so it's the game, but it's just the game. That's the way sometimes the calls go.
And then, Coach, despite the loss, back-to-back strong performances, what is the message to this team going into the final stretch of the season?
The message is keep playing hard and expect and anticipate close games. The Big Ten is, you guys are covering the Big Ten. You see it every night. It's a highly competitive conference, highly competitive games. And so that's what we expect down the stretch. And we just got to get back in practice and really work on, continuing to improve our execution, and in particular our late game execution, so we can close out some of these close games that I anticipate we're going to have.
You mentioned some of the runs in this game. It felt like every time this game took a turn, it was based off 7-0, 8-0 run from either team, something like that. How do you kind of contain those on the other end to kind of make sure you're keeping up the consistency on offense and defense?
How do you contain other teams? I don't know. I think it's when you go into these games and you're hopefully fairly evenly matched. That's what happens in basketball. They made some tough shots, just like we made some tough shots. And so I don't know that you can look and go like, oh, we got to do this or we got to do that. When it's evenly matched, sometimes it's just the way the ball bounces, or, the way the whistle blows, some things. And so we just, you just got to compete. You just got to compete and hope that you can sustain runs longer than the other team can sustain their runs.
As you mentioned, Destiny barely played in the first half because of the foul trouble, and then she was arguably the most impactful player for your team, especially on the offensive side after halftime.
Yeah.
How did she do that? Basically, essentially starting her game at halftime?
Yeah. Well, I think number one, she's really talented. She's grown in terms of her understanding of how to attack, how to read the defenses, how they're playing her and guarding her. And so I thought she did a really good job the second half of finding her spots, getting things going off of rebounds, getting things going off of her defense. And, you know, she just played her game and played her brand of basketball. You know, unfortunately for us, she wasn't on the floor the first half. You know, if we have her on the floor the first half, going back to your question, maybe some of those runs are a little bit longer. Maybe we're able to stop some of those runs because she is one of our better defenders as well. So, you know, Destiny was just Destiny, and, you know, she can put up those kind of numbers in 20 minutes. It just shows you how talented a player she is.
Coach, well, you know, kind of to build on the point of sustaining runs a bit, in the third quarter, you know, the offense was kind of stagnant despite the hot start.
Yeah.
However, you end up winning the quarter 17-9. I mean, it's not, you know, a crazy jump. However, winning that quarter has shifted this game a lot.
Yeah.
You know, what's the emphasis and what does that say about this defense, even when the offense isn't going? You know, what's the pride in the defense?
Well, yeah, I think we're continuing to grow in our defense and get comfortable with our defense. Having Awa getting games under her belt is helping us because she is one of our better defenders, and she is as a talker. She's a leader. She's a communicator on the defensive end of the floor. And so, you know, as our defense continues to solidify itself over, you know, down the stretch of the season, I think that'll help us when we do have those offensive lulls.
Coach, so you have a couple of days off before the next game. When you guys go back to practice and watching film, what are some things that you saw from tonight that you want to build going against Indiana next?
Yeah, I think some of the things that we saw is just the aggressiveness that we played with defensively, and continue to grow that from a defensive standpoint. And then we'll, you know, keep working on getting a balanced offensive attack. I think that is one of the differences between the last game and this game is, you know, we were a bit more balanced offensively, and we want to continue to do that and continue to grow in that respect.